Go aften.
God aften.
Okay, I'm here with TheTess from Copenhagen Wolves, obviously. And technically your campaign in the regular season is done now. You finished 5th overall, and this last game technically didn't matter for you guys. You already were 5th place anyway. But since you beat Gambit, you actually got to make sure now you won't play Gambit unless you reach the final. So, I mean, just on the implications of that, what do you think of that? Was that like a favourable result for you?
So we mainly wanted to beat Gambit just because we want to show what we can do. We want to show that we can beat Gambit. Wasn't really important for us, and I've been told we knocked them to 2nd place. We don't have a grudge against Gambit, so that's not something we were going for either. We just really want to prove what we can do, prove that we can beat them. So.
I mean, you were saying there you just wanted to prove you could beat them. Only 4 teams had managed to beat them this season, and 3 of them were the top 3 teams. And then there was basically Giants, who were kind of like an anomaly almost, that they beat them. Aside from the fact they finished 2nd overall, did you get the sense that Gambit were the strongest team in LCS?
I did get that sense, yes. I think Gambit are the strongest team in the LCS overall. No matter where they finish right now, I think they are the strongest team. So that's just my opinion. I think they're like that little level ahead of the rest of us.
Okay, so this particular game was like a pretty epic game, especially because Gambit was like fighting so hard because they wanted to get that top spot. Went quite long, there's a lot of gold in it. What did you make of the overall game? Did you always feel like it was always going to go your way and you were just a bit ahead? What was it like in the game?
I mean, at the start, I think we got behind. I got killed twice in bot lane. The Ghost Nest gank's simply too strong, so we messed up a little there. So I wasn't really sure. They got ahead, so I was thinking maybe if we make the comeback, and we did.
So the obvious, like I was mentioning before, the implications of this now is that the first round matchup was already set. So it's going to be you versus EG, and then the winner of that match will play Fnatic. So if we talk about that match first, you versus EG, a lot of people would say like that's actually the best first round matchup pretty much, like of the choice of EG and SK. I mean, do you agree with this? Do you feel like EG is a good matchup for you?
I think EG is the lesser of the 2 evils right now. Both teams are really strong. I mean, we lost to EG today, so I can't really say anything else than they're really strong. We have 4 losses against SK though, so we would rather face EG. So we're content with that. We didn't really think much about the team we have to face after, which is going to be Fnatic. We didn't really think much about that because right now our focus is just going to be on stay in the LCS, BEG. That's where we're at now.
Your team is kind of in like a unique position in LCS because you're the only team that finished in the bottom 4, which basically had at least an excuse like, oh, maybe we could have actually finished better because your record since you got Bergson was so excellent. Like someone ran the stats, and since you had him in your team, for the rest of the season, your team was the 3rd best performing team below Fnatic and Gambit. So we obviously can't like speculate that would have happened before, but there's a good chance you could have gotten at least a few more wins. So you're actually the only team who's like in theory an underdog, who some people are probably now going to predict you're actually going to beat EG. Like, do you feel, based on the team you've got now, that you're actually the favourite going into the EG match?
I mean, we come from being the underdogs. We were 0-9. We just like every time we won a game after that, it was just like, yay, go Wolves. So now it's kind of more all this hype built up because we're beating teams like Fnatic and Gambit this weekend. So much hype built up that there is actually a lot more pressure on us now to perform, and there's a lot more pressure on us to beat EG now. Hopefully we'll live up to it.
What's interesting is that you winning this game actually potentially, like we were talking in the first question, sort of helped you out in terms of putting Fnatic in the semis instead of Gambit, because even though obviously you have to get past EG, which is a challenge in itself, against Gambit you've only won that last game, whereas against Fnatic I think you've won 2 games against them. So you're one of you've accounted for 1/3 of their total losses in the season. If we imagine somehow you were to play Fnatic, you make it to the semis, like how good is your chances to actually reach the final?
I would say right now they're not the best since we have to go through 2 such strong teams. Both teams stand above us right now as teams, I believe. So we have a little ways to go still, but there's a possibility, there's a chance, and we can do it, so we're just going to try.
even though this LCS season was like some interesting results, like your team placing higher than people expected, EG placing lower, SK placing a little bit higher, so there were some up and down results, not like people expected. One of the interesting things about the summer season is that potentially LCS could get even harder, because some of the teams who might drop out, some of the teams who might replace them, people would say from like IEM, etc., strong teams like MYM, maybe a Nexus, maybe even Alternate now that they've got like Creaton, etc. Do you think the summer season, these sorts of teams are going to get in, or do you think the teams that are likely potentially going to drop out will retain their spots? What's your sense at the moment?
I think there's a kind of a high chance that at least one team's going to get knocked out. Dragonborns are looking kind of shaky right now. They're losing so many games, and I mean, they could well get knocked out. And I think Giants going to be 7th, so it could happen as well. Like, they have good and bad days, so there's definitely possibilities there. I think we're going to stay in. At the rate we're playing right now, I think we're going to stay in. And I think AAA will stay in as well, if they drop out to SK.
The unusual thing about Giants, obviously, is that they actually managed to beat Gambit twice, I think. And I think they're one of only 2 teams to even do it. So it's bizarre that they would finish 7th and yet beat potentially the strongest team in all of LCS. Do those games show any sort of weakness in Gambit that we hadn't seen before?
I guess so. But I don't, like, Gambit has had a history of probably a couple of times underestimating some teams. So I guess it's not, like, I don't even know if that happened or if they just flat out got outplayed. I don't want to speculate too much to that, but there's weaknesses in any team, and there's weaknesses in Gambit, so.
If we look at the other side of the bracket, so it's SK versus AAA, and then the semi-final is Gambit waiting for them. Realistically, what are the actual chances of SK or AAA being able to beat Gambit? Because I think AAA didn't beat Gambit at all, and I think SK beat them once. So, I mean, is Gambit like a huge favorite to make the final?
I think, like, they're a very big favorite. They're gonna prepare really well. I'm pretty sure they really want to win it. So, I think realistically, AAA won't have a chance to beat them out. SK will have a chance, but they're definitely the favorites in my head, and in probably most other people's as well.
Okay, do you have a final message? Anyone you want to thank or say hello to?
Want to thank our sponsors, basically, for making everything possible, paying us all that kind of stuff. TheTess, Complete, and SteelSeries.
Magatak.
Selv tak.